what this land split looks like. So what I'm sharing now is a piece of land shared by 4 people. So this is what it looks like. There is slot A, slot B, slot C, and slot D.
If you can zoom in a little bit so that the image is clearer, I just want to at least help so that people can make sense of what is in the image. So there is a red dotted line. That red dotted line represents the plot, the full plot. So in the case of this, for the 4 million naira plot, that red dot is the 600 square meter or the 500 square meter, as the case may be. So if you look around, the next to the red dot are the gray areas, the light gray. That is showing you the compound. There is something government calls setback and airspace. This is the distance between the fence and the line of the building. So we remove that because by standard, apart from satisfying government, it's actually necessary for safety. The one in front is mainly because of electricity. Safety implication of that is because that 6 meter is about the height of an electric pole. So in case an electric pole falls, I'm saying when it comes to safety, if an electric pole falls, it doesn't fall on your own. So I know a lot of people don't know that. That's why I just have to put that in. And the distance between the fence and the back is typically that is averagely, if most buildings are well positioned, it's expected that if anything happens and that building comes down, whether by force of nature or it's pulled down or by mistake, the rubbles will not collapse onto the next building. So that space gives that buffer. So that's why, apart from approval, those are the major reasons why they're important. Now, the next thing you see is these white zones that have shapes, icons of houses that write slot A, slot D. So when we remove that gray area entirely, we then divide what is left equally. That is now where your house will be. That is what becomes the terrace or the duplex or the bungalow, whatever you want to use it for. It then goes to design, from design goes to approval. So basically, why we say some prices start from is because apart from just sharing this slot, before you buy that slot, you will see how much you're going to pay for design. You see how much you're going to pay for approval. Now, for approval, it's tricky because you may be paying more than government will charge, or you may be paying less. Whatever the case is, if you've paid more, you will collect your change because there is, all these things have receipts. So if you paid less, by the time the process is done, you will refund us that change. Trust goes both ways. So that is why oftentimes we hear starts from, so that is that about it. So the slots are now where the buildings will start, and so individual building is different from one another. And by the time you build, the walls also are separate from one another. If you've seen a double wall, that is what we have, that's what you will see by the time the buildings stand next to each other. So when you zoom out, when you come out, or somebody driving by on the street, it looks like a typical terrace, it looks like a typical one building. But when you come close, that's when you now see that slot A, slot B, they are actually separated, they are not together. So I hope I've been able to give better context into that.
Oh yes.
So slot A will now be that 45 divided by 4. Slot B will be 45 divided by 4, and like that. So that's how it applies. In cases where it's 15 million, it becomes slot A divided by 4. And then by the time you want to pay, we then have your design fee, approval. There's a calculator that calculates all of that. So there's a prompt, you answer the prompt, and it calculates it, and you see if you make your decision right on the spot.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. So, to recap all what we've been talking about today. Yes, land is not getting cheaper, but what we are doing is to help you, you know, access it at a fraction, fractional, in a way that you are not having to look for the all, but you can buy what you can afford. And one of the things we didn't add is if you want slot A and B together, it's possible you can have both. If what you can afford is only slot A, that's fine. If you want to buy 3 slots altogether, yes, you can. But everything is within boundaries. They say, okay, this is yours, and this is what is the other person's own. In the chat session, you can see that I have dropped the link to the app where you can see all of our listings and you can proceed to buy yours in there. And I also dropped some YouTube links to show you the different listings and the directions from the main road, the distances from major points and landmarks out there. We appreciate your presence this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that we've been able to convince you and not confuse you that affordable home ownership is a possibility and you do not have to break the bank for that. Thank you so much for joining us.